Put the cat down.
Woohoo! Welcome.
Evening, boys.
What are you wearing on your head?
What do you mean? What's he wearing? That's a Back to the Future 2 hat, surely.
And it was given to me by my good friend, Richard.
Richard just off
Last
screen.
year's Christmas present? I can't remember.
I think it was a Christmas present.
I think so, yes. You still wear it.
Yeah, well, the main thing is because I can't get a haircut anywhere at the moment. My hair is a complete shambles, so I'm wearing a hat.
Same.
Yeah. Okay, welcome along to Let's Talk Trek. It is the UK's longest running with no interruptions Sunday night podcast. I think that's right. Sunday night podcast, longest running. Yeah, we'll go with that.
How specific do you want to be, Dan? You know, do you want to say longest running at precisely 9 o'clock on a Sunday Star Trek podcast with four guys?
Middle-aged blokes. Yeah, exactly. Let's do it.
Handsome middle-aged blokes.
4 middle-aged blokes and Carl.
Oh, mate, how's your latest placement going? I hope your studies are going well, my dear. Thank you for coming in.
So, this week, lots of things to get through. We have a bit of an interactive competition for you guys, which is fun. Ooh. So I'm going to introduce myself first. I'm Dan from Trekkies Guide to Galaxy. At the side of me is Carl from Trekkies Guide to Galaxy.
Evening.
Directly below me is James from the USS Riker's Beard.
Good evening.
And in the remaining square tonight, it is Richard from the Riker's Beard. We are sort of a combination between Top Gear and QI. I think that's probably the most right way.
We don't flatter ourselves at all, do we?
Exactly. We are. Oh, bless. Right. So, first off, if you join us every week, James is much more fun when he's had a drink in him. So, with that in mind, we're going to do our which involves James making cocktails. So,
have you ever met me sober?
Once.
No, never. And we go for breakfast regularly.
Apparently, it tastes taste it's too early. So,
No,
right, let's do it. Sorry, Richard.
Meg has put, she's absolutely exhausted tonight. She's had a very busy day today. But the first thing she did when she came home was tune in to see us. So there's a special gift heading your way, Megan. No worries about it.
Well,
you can have a cocktail.
Terribly splendid. Right, okay. Tonight's cocktail is... Bear with. Right, once again, we return to the Star Trek Cocktail Stellar Compendium as purchased for me by the lovely present Lady Dillon. This week's cocktail is the Heaven of Nine. For this cocktail, you're going to need...
Jerry Ryan.
The shaker. Bit of ice in there already. Right, you have to bear with me. I've not got this one printed out. So, right, the first measure is of gin. Now, our regular viewer will know that my favourite gin is this one, the Anno gin, made in Kent, where all the best stuff comes from. But I'm not going to waste that on a cocktail, so I'm just going to go for bog standard Tanqueray. I need 1 3/4 fluid ounces. Where's my measuring thing gone? What's that in metric?
1.
There we are.
1, 2,
1. What you like? Right, there we go. Tanqueray. Dip that in there. You will need 1 measure of Ferengi lemon juice. Not lemon, lime. What do we know about Ferengi fruits?
Moist.
Tip it in. You will also need a tablespoon of Denobulan orange liqueur if you can't get hold of that. What?
Nothing. I don't think we've ever seen a Ferengi fruit, have we?
Cointreau will do. Roughly the same. There we are.
Yes, it's a 7 of 9 cocktail, and it's got to be cold.
Cold and emotionless. In we go. And, yes, the other ingredient is, bear with...
this is like white beta for adults, isn't it?
Yeah. The white of... Oh, careful.
So when we
Caspar egg. Here's one I prepared earlier.
When we open our themed Star Trek bar, we can have James make these cocktails, and he will, as he's doing them now, he'll do them at the bar like this. Make your cocktail this way, wearing that hat.
if James makes cocktails at the rate he does on this show, though, we'll never make any profit of that.
We charge a lot of money for them. James is a popular.
You know the film Cocktail with Tom Cruise? I
Probably
was
took
his
weeks.
stunt double.
Fortunately, as we all know, Tom Cruise does all of his own stunts.
Yes, there we are. That's what I was looking for. Right, let's see how this goes. Right, chilled martini glass, ice already in there. Oh, look at that. That's coming out a lovely colour.
That does look good. Almost.
What happens when you follow instructions? Isn't it amazing?
Ooh, it's a bit viscous because of the egg white, of course. Okay, garnish with lemon peel. Look at that.
Twisted
Hotly
lemon.
draped in. And if, like me, you'll use any excuse to have a cocktail cherry, why not? Stick it in. It's my cocktail. I can do what I like. If I can catch one of the little bleeders. Come here.
Yeah, that's lost its entertainment value.
There we go. There it's in. Right. Bottoms up. That kind of tastes like what I imagine would happen if you put sherbet in lemonade. Richard, can you run across the street and get me some lemon sherbet?
Lemon sherbet.
Now, Cindy, good point about Star Trek ice cube trays. You may not be aware, but let me see if I can find some here.
Oh, here we go. A collectible James owns. We're getting into the next feature already.
You'll never find it.
Don't be daft. It would have been filed away neatly.
Yes. Some of the original series controls, not these particular ones, but some of the translucent ones, were actually made out of ice cube trays, using them as molds. And there's a chap in the States who sent me one of these ice cube trays that I couldn't track down, so I could make my own.
But in response to your question, no, I've not seen any at all, but there are several Star Wars ones that you can get, but not Star Trek ones. I've looked before and not come across them, I'm afraid. So get going. There's a gap in the market.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your cocktail, James. It looks very nice. I'm sure our viewers love it. Right. Viewers that are watching us now, we have got a new game we're going to play today. We're going to play you a video clip before we go into Collectible Corner, and we want you to have a think about what's being talked about, okay? So here's the clip. This is when Sir Richard interviewed Chase Master at Destination Star Trek.
Thank you so much for telling me that story. That is really, really wonderful. That's one of the nicest things anyone has ever told me in my time on Star Trek.
What is Chase talking about? Right, have a think about that while we're
looking specifically for what was the story I told Chase to make her fall in love with me.
Let's hit
Why
the
do you
next.
look so frightened?
Let's hit the next item. Here we go.
I think it's great the way when the slide comes up, we all start dancing and no one can see us do it. Such
Just for
wasted
an
entertainment.
By the way, just before you start, Carl,
Aha!
the present Lady Dylan just came up and said, "I've got this in the drawer downstairs," and it's from StarTrek.com or Think Geek.
Think Geek. Yeah.
There you have it.
They did quite a few kitchenware type things. Weren't they responsible for the pizza cutter and bottle opener sets?
Yes.
There you go, Cindy, another problem answered.
Problem
There we are. See,
solved.
that's it. We're such fountains of knowledge between us.
Right, Carl. What have you got collectible-wise?
Our regular viewer may remember a little while ago, I had a figurine of a Gorn that had recently come out. And it was snagged at a bargain price from a local discount retailer, B&M Bargains. Well, not so long ago, B&M replenished their stocks, and we managed to snag Khan!
Oh my gosh.
Let's have a closer look at his chest there, Carl.
Let's try and
Is
go
it
to
an
the
Avenger?
Plastic.
There we are. So yeah, this one unfortunately doesn't have any of the glowing parts like the Gorn did. But it does tie in actually, because I think I don't know if you've got it for the news at all, Dan, but I think Mego that are releasing these they've just put out, they're releasing some other new figures in this line as well. Well, I just briefly flashed past on my timeline, but yeah, so it's my second Mego figure of this line that I'm adding to my collection. It'll be going up on the shelf.
Just to put the head a bit closer to the camera, because I thought that was actually Tina Turner. It's not, though, is it?
No, it is actually Khan.
Oh, I thought it was Brian May.
Jimmy Savile.
So yeah, it's the 8-inch action figure, 14-point articulated. If you care to take him out of the box and pose him however you would on your shelves, usually go for about £2,500, and whenever you're lucky enough to snag these in somewhere like B&M Bargains, they are half price at around £1,300.
I'll ask a serious question now. If I go to B&M Bargains tomorrow, would that be classed as an essential journey?
Well, you see, B&Ms do sell other goods that are essential. So if you happen to spot it while you're in there purchasing something, say a loaf of bread or a bottle of milk, then the initial journey itself would have been essential.
Do you know, it makes me, because the story of how you got that one, which is we picked it up and dropped it on your front door for you.
Yeah, I didn't actually have to make any journeys, never mind an essential one. So,
and there's people wandering around with bottles of milk and loaves of bread and scented candle, and it's like, that's not essential. Put it down. But then I was wandering around with a Khan action figure, so I really couldn't point a finger at anybody that day. Right,
this show.
Oh dear, Nadine.
Oh well.
You said it looked nothing like him.
So, like I say, we've just been asking you very quickly, thank you for your collectible, Carl, to figure out what this clip is.
Thank you so much for telling me that story. That is really, really wonderful. That's one of the nicest things anyone has ever told me in my time on Star Trek.
What story did Richard tell? So let's have a look in the comments and see if anybody's guessed it yet. Megan says...
Is it when he was in the toilets with Anson Mount?
what was that, James?
Was it about when he was in the toilet with Anson Mount? Oh, I've lost 10 points.
James, you are holding the camera.
May I remind you that once again, during that weekend, drink was taken.
That's why you had to hold the camera.
That's why it was a bit shaky.
Was it when Richard cried after Lita and Rom got married? I'm afraid we've got to play the sound effect again. That's never going to get old. We will come back to that later on.
Why haven't we all got buzzers?
Why haven't we all got buzzers? Next week,
buzzers if you're going to do QI.
Next week, we'll arrange some buzzers. Find something that makes a noise. We will run this feature until somebody gets it. That's what we're going to do. We'll run it every week until somebody gets it.
I'll let you know as soon as someone gets it right. I will own up and do what it is.
There you go.
It was the beginning of the relationship whereby Chase did fall in love with me. So
okay, moving swiftly on before the news. It's time for another new feature. You ready, Richard?
Oh.
It's a
Oh, I love that.
I wasn't briefed on that. That was brilliant.
I didn't like Gareth Williams. I breathed all the way out, and then.
Oh dear.
Right, this is my new feature, fake news. I've got a clip. In fact, let's roll the clip first before I talk about it, if that's okay, Dan, and then I'll speak about it afterwards.
I was a sucker for Star Trek when I was a kid.
Of course I know where I am, Captain. I'm just not sure I know who I am. I am fully capable of appreciating this phenomenon without the extraneous sentimentality humans find so necessary.
Are you two friends?
Yes. We're colleagues. I respect Mr. Kim for his intelligence and his integrity. You're implying a desire on my part that simply does not exist. Do you know what a mind meld is? We would be telepathically linked, exchanging our thoughts, in essence, becoming one mind.
Felt like the guy in Star Trek. I was being beamed around.
So this is the deep homage. This is where someone's taken a president of North America, Obama, is it? I believe. Yeah, and they've sort of melded his face onto Tuvok's in way of showing appreciation. And really, this was a nothing story. Then it suddenly occurred to me, and I thought to myself, what if? Because James, do you have to hand your 3D figure of you as Kirk?
No, it take me a while to go and get it.
You can order yourself a 3D me figure of you as a Star Trek character. Now, what if you could order a season of TNG, a season of DS9, a season of Voyager, with you deepfaked as one of the new characters for the whole season? Wouldn't that be the best gift ever? Wouldn't that be absolutely brilliant? And it got me to thinking, if I was going to order that, who would I want to be? You know, if you're going to pick one character for one season, if someone's going to get me as a Blu-ray gift, you know, who is it I'd like to be replaced as in the Star Trek world? Guys, I'm dying to know. Probably it's got to be gender correct. Joe Beard's not going to work. But who is it you'd like to be?
I mean, I could see you as Janeway.
In honesty, what I'd like to see is the whole of Discovery recast with Jonathan Frakes in every role.
or John Malkovich. If I stay for you for Christmas, James, I can get you season 7 of TNG and have your face on Frakes, basically. I mean, wouldn't that be good?
Can I nominate James to play the part of Ronan, the ghost, in the episode?
I was just thinking,
I would play Beverly.
Beverly!
What do I do?
The candle.
If someone order you a season of any Star Trek series, who is it you'd like to be in it? You know, which season and which character? I'll see there's a couple of comments come in.
Here we go.
Obama as Tuvok. Yes. Yeah. That was not him. So, yes, I would make a good Cisco. Can't deny. I'd be very good at that.
Absolutely.
You're the right height for a ROM as well, or maybe even like a Nog.
Tilly or B'Elanna. I think you'd make a great B'Elanna, actually, Megan. That'd be fantastic. Yeah.
There we go. Megan's also had a quick guess as to what you might have been saying to Chase, by the way.
All right. Okay. Let's see. How much Leaper's character development affected his no.
No. Incorrect. Well, there we are, Richard. I'm liking your bit of fake news this week. Hopefully, we'll see more on this feature next week. That's what we're looking for. So, from fake news to real news. Okay, so this is the bit where we have real news. Let's start putting these up and talking about them. James, you have first slide.
Oh, yes. Now, viewers of science fiction may recognize this as the space station Babylon 5. Now, Babylon 5 was a series starting in the early 90s produced by J. Michael Straczynski, who's also had incidental involvement in Star Trek. But Babylon 5, a complete self-contained universe. Babylon 5, of course, was the last of the Babylon stations, our last best hope for peace or something like that. Anyway, it's had an HD upscale. And it's being released. And the reason I brought this up is mainly because TNG has had an HD upscale. TOS has had an HD upscale, including new effects. Deep Space Nine and Voyager, dare I say, even Enterprise await the same treatment. So,
Enterprise is in HD, James.
Yeah, Enterprise
is
is.
it? Oh, okay. Well, I probably didn't notice. Well, obviously I didn't. The only thing on Babylon 5 they haven't upscaled is the effects. They were kind of cutting edge for the time. 1993, I think it was. But short of going back and redoing them all, that they haven't done that. But I've thrown this in really as a, come on, let's have Deep Space Nine upscaled. We've seen footage before on this show of where people have done the special effects of the, what's the battle where they fight their way through the combined Cardassian Dominion fleet back to Deep Space Nine?
Oh, yes, I know what you mean.
Sacrifice of Angels.
Yeah.
Is it the Sacrifice of Angels? I think that's where they attack the Chintoka system, isn't it?
Oh, no.
So, by the way, it's a huge space battle.
The original gets destroyed. Yeah. That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah. But I'm glad you brought this up because it's something I've been looking into after the deep fake stuff, and there are fans out there that are upscaling. The big issue has always been that it was shot on film, DS9 and Voyager, so that's very easy and fairly cheap for them to upscale. The expensive bit is the effects. They were shot on video because it was a lot cheaper. But there's a lot of fans out there who have been upscaling them, and as we saw on What You Left Behind, there's fans out there doing it in their spare time, producing better results. If any of you guys have watched the HD remaster of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the fan upscale of Voyager and DS9 is better than the professional ones of Buffy. So it's got to be achievable.
Yeah.
You know, personally, I'd have to say I think there'd be more of a rush for me to do it for Voyager than for DS9. I think that'd be better received.
But we can have a look.
Yeah, the problem is there, and what James has missed. This is a lot. If you watch any Star Trek on Netflix, honestly, it's shocking. Like whether it's Enterprise, whether it's DS9 in standard definition, they've descaled it back for streaming purposes so much. The quality is awful. I mean, Enterprise was shot in HD, and you watch it on Netflix, it is awful. The quality just doesn't do it justice at all. Go out and get yourself the Blu-rays instead.
Yeah.
Right, looking through our comment, Christoph says that the Babylon 5 upscale is very interesting, but not available on the side of the pond yet. And Alan has chimed in that he would like to be deepfaked as Mr. Hom.
Of course.
Alan, we know what to get you for Christmas. We'll deepfake you in those episodes, get them onto a Blu-ray, and wing them over to you. Honestly, I think there's a market for this, chaps.
Absolutely.
I think you've got an award-winning idea there, Richard.
Quick, let's put some copyright on it. Quick.
Talking of awards, Richard, next item in the news. You, please.
Right, yes. So this is the GLAAD Media Awards, which it's basically about representation. It's fantastic. Discovery has been recognised for it. I have to say, I think that this season Discovery has done a poor job of it, which is disappointing because the last two seasons they did a superb job of it. In particular, these awards go towards representing the LGBTQ community with, I believe that their words are accuracy. So Discovery has been nominated for someone who had their X transplanted into a symbiont. It's kind of lost me a bit why they've gone for the award this year. However, as always, fantastic to see Star Trek at the forefront of representation.
Absolutely. And we are very much hopeful that they're going to win those awards. Right, next up, we have had some news this week. That, real news. Discovery Season 4 in production. Did anyone see the release by Mr. Alex Kurtzman?
No, but to be interested, I don't think I'm going to bother with Season 4.
Ooh. Well, he says Season 4 villain will not be biological or nothing we've come across before. That's what he sort of said for season 4. They're busy plotting that out and writing it now. So,
was there a villain in season 3?
Season 3?
Ira was supposed to be the villain, wasn't she?
All right, okay.
Laurel.
Yeah, they've said it's going to be a very science-based series, haven't they, as opposed to big nasty.
Yes.
Ooh. Physics.
Apparently.
Physics.
Well, I look forward to it.
Next up on the news, it is this one. Brent Spiner is writing his memoirs. Ish.
What's happening in the picture there, Dan?
Obviously, you've got Brent Spiner and an evil Brent Spiner in the envelope.
Well, but the evil Brent Spiner has been stabbed with a sort of red lightning bolt. What's happened?
That's blatantly a knife, James. If you look carefully, you can see.
Okay, well, why has he been stabbed? What's happened?
We don't know until it comes out, but it's on its way. So,
okay,
that's just something that's on its way. Moving on, next up. This panel here, GalaxyCon, what do we know?
Wasn't this to do with guest stars that got away?
Absolutely. Stars they wanted for Voyager that they never managed to get tie down. There was even an episode written
in Voyager, were they?
No, they wanted them. Apparently, Robin Williams was even an episode specifically written for him.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
and apparently he was a huge Tuvok, a Neelix fan.
Really?
I can understand Robin Williams being a Neelix fan.
Yeah, he was a big fan of Neelix, apparently.
Been a lot of those big names over the years for all the franchises that have almost been. I mean, there was always talk about Tom Hanks being in First Contact, wasn't there? But it was a scheduling conflict.
Yeah, he was going to do it. He said he'd do it for free, didn't he? He loves Star Trek that much, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can we just get that slide back, Dan, just because I wanted to draw attention to Garrett Wong's name on the screen. There you are. Garrett Forever Ensign Wong.
Excellent.
Oh, bless. Yes, I hadn't actually noticed that. Oh, good spot. I love the fact that everyone's got like a really good background, apart from Tim Russ, who is just blatantly sitting on his sofa.
I thought that was Barack Obama.
No. Right, let's have a look through the comments section then and see what we've got before we go into our next one. I think the TNG upscale Blu-rays probably have not sold as good as they should. I think it was Ira who entered at what Left Behind events at DST.
Yeah,
and Chris is on.
Saying that.
Big hello to Chris. He was our guest presenter last week when Richard was...
Substitute Richard. Hey, Chris.
Substitute Richard.
He's looking very big brother in that picture, isn't he?
Chris last week was mentioning Star Trek Catan, and we just put a link on, and he said that quite a few people clicked on his page to have a look at it. So if you've gone and bought it because of Chris, well done. Thank you very much.
Barry Manilow wanted to do...
Which part?
At the Vija Pro.
There'll be robots and AI and starships and spacesuits at the end.
At the Vija.
It could have made that movie more bearable, to be honest.
Oh, no, you take that back.
Yeah, I liked it.
Oh, you're wrong, and I can tell you why.
You got the best sort of 5 minutes of Starship porn in anything there.
Yes, and you got 5 minutes of good footage in a 2-hour movie.
Got the most terrifying warp travel ever experienced.
And you've got those pajamas that they wore.
And Deltons and Vija and getting in a spacesuit. There's just so much to love about that. You're wrong.
And of course, the motion picture theme that was ultimately into the TNG theme.
Yeah.
Next should be telling you that Star Trek 5 is not a good movie.
Star Trek 5 is a brilliant movie.
Star Trek 5 is a brilliant movie.
Anyone who wants to argue that with me, anyone, bring it on.
Star Trek 5 is a brilliant movie. You're wrong as well. I'm the moderator. I've decided.
Have you noticed how it seems to be Dan versus the world?
Have a revolt on your hands here, Dan.
Next time Dan comes to visit, guess what film we're watching? Ordering a big pizza, and we're
Well, we start with the Three Amigos, then Ghostbusters, and then we can get on.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fine. Can we go and project it onto a cliff somewhere?
The Police Academy.
Anyway, right. We have got another piece of news to talk about. So
Really?
let's keep checking through the news, boys and girls. Yes, Richard. What's this one? I did talk about it with you briefly before.
Right. So this is Star Trek Online, which is having its 11th birthday at the moment. It's been going for 11 years, which is pretty good for a massively multiplayer online game. The best ever massive multiplayer online game was Warhammer Online, which was sadly destroyed. It's when the plug was pulled on that I went to Star Trek Online. It is a fantastic free-to-play game. If you haven't given it a go out there and play it. It's one of the few MMOs that you can play without spending money that actually you can have some good fun playing just as it is. So get out there and give it a go.
Wonderful. The only massively multiplayer online I've played is Eve. I played that very briefly for a bit.
I've looked at that, not played it myself. I'm not generally a big fan of massive multiplayer, but Warhammer Online was the be-all end-all. It was superb. Star Trek Online is obviously very good.
Stargate would make a great massively multiplayer online game as well.
I've not seen Stargate. Is it any good?
You've not seen Stargate? Yeah, it's not bad. Right, let's have a look. Chris says
Anyone who's playing the game, sorry, but you just lost.
And on that note, let's move on to, it's not Richard's Reads this week, it is...
Or it is Richard Reads. We're going to go from Reads into the...
Okay, we'll go for Richard's Reads then.
Yeah. This week, I have been mostly reading Star Trek The Dark Veil. Roll the videotape.
Which videotape is it, Carl?
I'll grab it. 2 secs.
Okay.
Roll VT.
Recently, you will all be aware, this amazing book has been released, and we're fortunate enough to be talking to the author of The Dark Veil today. He is BAFTA nominated. He is the award-winning New York Times, Sunday Times, Amazon #1 best-selling author, and I understand as well the first British writer to have not just one, but 2 of his story ideas make it to screen in Star Trek Voyager seasons 4 and 6. So, gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce to you Mr. James Swallow.
Hey, everybody.
All the pieces start dropping into place about the Romulan star.
I couldn't possibly comment.
All right, so let me ask the question another way. Did you or did you not know?
That's right. Yes, we've all of us have read The Dark Veil. I'm not going to give too much away than it's spoiled, other than it's a very good read and you should read it. And shortly after tonight's episode of Let's Talk Trek finishes, we're going to roll the full interview with James Swallow. He was a thoroughly nice chap and gave us some fascinating insights. So please do watch it. You will enjoy. And please do go out and buy his book. You will not regret it.
And the more of you who buy his books, the more he will write. And we've all enjoyed it.
And the more he'll come back with a
novels going.
Yeah, without, as our regular viewer will know, I don't pander. I really enjoyed it. If I didn't like it, I would tell you. It was a really good read. It's full of all kinds of wonderful Easter eggs, nostalgia trips. Go for it. It's really enjoyable.
And he was actually a really nice guy to interview as well.
Yeah.
So let's have a look in the comments. Meg said she needs to get hands on the book. Available from all good book
Amazon.
shops.
Amazon's
Get it next day on Amazon.
Amazon, yeah.
If you are going to buy it, please buy it from Amazon and not another bookshop.
And make sure you leave a decent review saying that you heard about it here.
Well, we'll pop a link onto the video when we upload it for you to nip onto Amazon and grab it from there.
Yeah. Right, so that was Richard Reeves. Moving on with our next thing then. It's this one.
Yeah, so I've been a bit busy this week. I had lots and lots of evidence to get through, so I've not had a lot of time to find a clip. But hey, I found this one. Roll VT.
Carl, press the button.
Report.
Sensors didn't detect the phenomenon until we were almost on top of it, sir.
It is a highly localized distortion of the space-time continuum. On screen.
The ship has been identified! Exterminate them!
All main systems just went down. Power levels are dropping rapidly.
Red alert! Hail them.
Resistance is futile.
Core breach is imminent. All hands abandon ship! Repeat, all hands abandon...
Hello, I'm the doctor.
I have to say, I mean, we could possibly spend an entire hour just talking about that. I mean, really, we could, and we're very fortunate to know a writer who's delved into this himself. But there's absolutely no reason why these two franchises can't collide. Yes, so this is Tony Lee and J.K. Woodward's comic that James held up and put down too quickly. Hold up again. But you literally could spend.
There's our friend Tony Lee. There he is.
Yeah,
co-writer on the Star Trek Doctor Who crossover. Yeah, I mean, let me just talk about that for a minute. So, I make no bones about the fact TNG is and always will be my favorite Trek series.
Well, because it's the best.
Yeah, I grew up with that particular one. It was in production while I was a teenager. Doctor Who used to be one of my favorite shows. At the moment, it isn't. But back then it was. And the Doctor is an amazing character. He's a British character. I heard Stephen Moffat talking once at an event I went to. And he said when they gave him a superpower, they didn't give him the power to be bulletproof, to fly, whatever. What they gave him? They gave him an extra heart because he cares that much.
Yeah.
Wonderful. The Doctor's a great character. And he says of humanity this, aren't you brilliant? Aren't you brilliant? And where that riffs with this is, look, that clip's 4 years old, by the way. Someone has gone and off their own bat, they've made that. They've done all the special effects. They've cut the characters out to meld them together. They've done the TNG theme on the electric guitar, etc. This is you lot out there doing your own thing for nothing because you love it. And that's what I loved about that clip.
I've always been
bring to these things. You're brilliant. Applause to whoever did that.
I've always loved Doctor Who because when I was growing up as a child, as you did, you were a child once as well as me, and I had really bad asthma, so I literally could barely go outside. I could hardly do anything athletic, but I had one show a week I could watch where the main character was a man, and he wasn't like He-Man. You know, he was a man that was just clever and solved problems by caring about stuff and by being clever, and that
using the weapon.
Yeah, but that really was a beacon for me, and that's what's really important. I'm getting my kids into Doctor Who now for those reasons. To see a man who can solve a problem, for want of a better term, without his fists. and they're loving it. Not obviously the new Doctor Who, that's crap, but the old Doctor Who's rebirth. And when you watch Star Trek: The Next Generation, genuinely, when you really analyze it, there's very little action. You know, there really is very little action. You know, it's about strong figures, be them male or female, to be honest with you, solving problems with words rather than with torpedoes. So, yeah, there's a lot of similarities that can be drawn between the two franchises, and that's probably why they've melded together better than anything else.
My question is, Jones, is that clip that we've shown, is that as far as that clip goes, or does it go longer?
It's a longer clip. I gave Carl an extra excerpt if he chooses to play it, if we have the time.
I think we have the time, don't we?
If you have the time, roll VT.
Oh, ho, where do you think you're going?
Give me a chance to put things back the way they were before.
I'll need help, obviously. I'll need to talk to an old friend.
Brilliant. I love that. Do you know who the old friend is that we meet?
No reason it couldn't work. And for those reasons I said, it's fantastic.
Who's the old friend?
It's Guinan. The Doctor goes to Gallifrey, and there's Guinan there. So if people care to find the clip, it's called Quantum Breach. And I just picked it up while I was looking for something to stick in Wish, and I really liked it. I thought that was brilliant.
If you are wanting to watch that, please do so after we finish. Don't just run off now, because it's more interesting than that.
Has our viewer managed to guess my Chase Masterson?
Should we roll that again so people can guess what it is?
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
Thank you so much for telling me that story. That is really, really wonderful. That's one of the nicest things anyone has ever told me in my time on Star Trek.
Every time I watch that and that clip comes back up, I get more and more focused on how hench you're trying to look on the bench while holding the microphone.
Yeah, so no, I make no bones about it. I was completely besotted by her. I was sucking in the gut. I was like, yeah, and it worked because she was clearly in love with me. And if you guys like to have a guess as to what it was I just said, James had a guess. He was wrong.
Nothing was there.
And you were there.
Anybody else want to have a final guess? Carl, do you want to have a guess?
I think. Do you remember the episode where Lita has, is it Dr. Bashir's teddy bear?
Yeah.
You know, she's very much, there's a lot of distress around this teddy bear and who should have it, and you know, eventually it gets passed back to its original owner and things. I'm just wondering if that maybe resonated with something from Richard's childhood, and that's why she felt so attached to it.
Obviously, I know what the answer is. I know what the answer is.
Sneaking out of Dan's room the night before.
Say that again. I was sneaking
out of Dan's room the night before.
What? Well, Liam's had a guess in the comments. Something to do with her and wrong. Well, you can't have a massively completely wrong for that, but mate, you got to be a bit more specific than that, I'm afraid.
We will continue this next week. You have a week to think about this, boys and girls, and we will see who else gets a wrong.
And you'll think about nothing else, I'm sure.
a wrong claps. Right, Alan says, where is the video clip from, James?
Oh, I just found it on YouTube. We can stick the link up. Carl, you've got the link, haven't you?
I shall find it and pop it into a comment.
But don't forget, after the show, that the interview link will be going up as well for our interview as well. That'll be the priority.
In fact, he's just link up in the comments himself.
There you go.
Save me a job, Alan. Thank you.
Let's have a look. Chris says, is a sonic screwdriver a weapon of mass destruction? To which Megan says, it doesn't even work on wood, so no.
Well, it's like, you know, Green Lantern. His ring doesn't work on wood, does it?
And then Christoph has put actual 3-part playlist for James's.
Go out there, enjoy this stuff. People have spent hours and hours making it, and it's brilliant. There's so much love that goes into things like this.
It's either watch that or cat fighting. Yeah. What?
Well, the internet's got, it's basically 99% cats and 1% porn, isn't it? So, that's the other bit.
That's a
Which
very
of those
restricted
categories
window.
do we fall into then, James?
Oh, have you been looking through my internet history?
Well, there we go. So that's more or less the end of the show this week. Obviously, this week there is other things to keep you entertained. A quick view of things you might want to watch in the next 7 days when you come back to us. We have got our James Swallow interview going up online very shortly, so make sure you watch that. He's a very nice guy, and buy his book because it's a good read. It's well worth it.
The previous one by Una McCormack, that's also a brilliant read. Well worth reading.
Yeah, that was a really good read as well. Yeah,
absolutely. We are having a little discussion between ourselves as regards our new Arc one-off special. That's going to be coming at some point. Then, of course, you have got on Friday evening. Am I correct in saying Trekkie Girls are Friday night?
Trekkie Girls.
They also do cocktails. One day we're going to have a cocktail off.
That just sounds like a
Don't shorten that down in any way.
There is David and Will live on Saturday Night Live from FCD Events on Saturday, and then obviously us on Sunday. And I'm sure there are other shows and things you can watch online as well. Let's quickly go back into this.
How about Lower Decks? Actual Star Trek that's broadcasting right now.
That's available.
Should we talk about Lower Decks? Dan, you like Lower Decks, don't you?
I do.
Carl, you like Lower Decks, don't you?
Yeah.
Great, wonderful. Then 50% of the show likes Lower Decks.
I love Lower Decks.
You are considerably outnumbered here, Richard.
As you were earlier, Dan, when it came to the motion picture.
I mean, if you were to ask me Lower Decks or Discovery, no choice whatsoever.
Actually, no, I disagree there. Lower Decks is above Discovery Season 3 and 2. But it's not above Discovery Season 1.
Fair enough. Megan says she's off next Sunday. Can she have an excuse me note? Because she's not going to be here.
Well, I'll tell you what, Megan, here's what we'll do. We'll give you an excuse note if 1 week you come on and you're on the panel with us.
Oh, yes. Yes, come and be a member on with us, Megan.
I'll take a week off. You can host it. You can
moderate it. Moderator Meg.
Oh,
Meg, I like the sound of that. Gets my vote.
Well, there we go. It's decided then.
Right. So before we disappear today, as our many viewers watch, and we do have quite a lot of viewers that watch this through the week. So if you don't catch us live, there's quite a few. We get several hundred viewers who watch us throughout the course of the week, which is always exciting. I thought it might be a little bit interesting for next week, spring this on you guys, for us to have a discussion around an episode and maybe get the viewers involved. So between ourselves, let's quickly have a track now. What episode should we talk about?
Rosa.
No, not Sub Rosa.
Code of Honor.
Move along home.
Actually, if it's a serious vote, I'd like to go for my favourite ever episode, which is TNG's Lower Decks.
Do you know what? It ties into Lower Decks. Let's do that.
Yeah, that's a good shout, especially with the release of it on Amazon over here. So, yeah.
Lower Decks it is.
Next Generation, Lower Decks. We're going to have a chat about it next week. We'd love you guys to chat along as well. So have a watch of it on your favourite streaming service and or Blu-ray.
If you need the reference for it, it's season 7, episode 15-ish.
Some great suggestions coming in on the thing. We will do some of these over the next couple of weeks. So if you've got an episode you'd like us to talk about the week after, suggest it. Like Ben suggested Cupid.
Cupid's a good one.
I'm not a merry man.
And Chris has said,
that's a good one. Oh, yeah. Some good ones there. For us to tear apart with our talking track knowledge.
Exactly. And I believe Carl is going to be doing...
Before we leave, the news is that Picard Season 2 starts filming tomorrow. We haven't covered that in the news, but yeah, that's good news.
Oh, we have got if people want to stick around and watch it, we have got that lovely sentimental piece that I got for you that you'd asked for.
Did you? Well, we're 5 minutes over time, but what the hell?
Yeah, come on. We're not paying for the airtime.
Why not? So, yeah, James, just cue this up for us while I grab the video.
Lower Decks is apparently season 7, episode 15.
Oh. It was you that asked for it, James, so I presumed you might have a little bit of spiel about
Let me
it.
use my roll VT lever.
Okay.
That long scene, I think it was 7 pages, which is long for a TV series, at the end of season 1, when Brent and myself were alone on the set. And that's when Data told me what he wanted from me. I think it was one of my happiest days on a film set, because not only was the writing outstanding and complex and beautiful, but I was sharing them not just with the character of Data I admire, but one of my dearest and most loved friends, Brent Spiner. And it all became almost at times overwhelming. Right at the end of the scene, I go to walk out of the door and leave him. And you see, I'm getting emotional even now. And then I turn around and I said, goodbye, Commander. And for several takes, I couldn't say it. Couldn't get the words out. I felt so emotional. Exactly like when the series was coming to an end and I had a scene with Jonathan Frakes in my ready room, or in my ready room. And we were saying goodbye. And Riker said to me, "It's been an honor." And I had to say, "No, the honor is all mine." And again, it was just too much.
That's an interview by another podcast called, I think, Gold Derby or Golden Derby. I happened to chance across. I didn't realize you'd found the video of that, actually, Carl. I thought it was just going to be a slide.
No.
But no, beautiful words by Sir Patrick there. God, when that man speaks, you can't help but listen, can you? When Sir Patrick is speaking, everything stops and you listen. And that's just lovely, the sentiments there.
Not many actors or people with voices like that. You know, you can probably count on one hand the amount of voices that you have that effect. David Attenborough being another one. You know, when that man speaks, everything just sort of stops as well. Very rare.
I think that a lot of what went into that speech was the truth that we've heard many times, that Patrick Stewart has said that what he takes away the most from Star Trek is he made friends for life with the cast there. And he loves them all, and they all love him, and they all love each other. And you've not heard quite similar things from other franchises in Star Trek where they've been quite so close. And I always love the stories you hear about how raucous they were on the TNG set and mucking about and all the rest of it. And on DS9, there was none of that. It was a lot more military, a lot more sort of sensible. And I think perhaps that's why they had that bond on TNG.
Lovely, though. Lovely. Yeah, Megan, that's the thing about Sir Patrick. You know, you just tune into him.
I think people tend to listen to bald-headed men more because we're wiser.
Where are my hairdressers?
And on that bombshell.
That is it for this week. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. From myself, from the other guys as well. Have a great evening.
Grace, if you're watching.
Oh, dear God. Richard, you know what that is, don't you?
Bye-bye.